I'm going to say something that's going to get a lot of people ticked off. I think they all knew what was going to happen at that time. And I think Vince let Bret punch him in the face to make that whole thing just, they needed to get rid of him because he was making the money. They couldn't pay him anymore.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wrestling Time Machine. I'm your host, Mac Davis. That's WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long and pro wrestling journalist, Mr. Bill Apter. Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Hey Mac, hey Teddy. Hey, listen, before we get on to today's talk here, I go to this place called 2nd Avenue Thrift Shop in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, and I bought for $3 a bag of 6 wrestlers. And I got to show you what, but this is $3. I got Shane O'Mac. Pretty good, huh? This one?
Yeah, it looks like Shane or Vince. Cena?
No, well, yes, hey, you know your wrestlers.
Mark Henry?
Yeah. Teddy can guess too here.
Braun Strowman.
Yeah, you're not even giving Teddy a chance.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll give Teddy the next one here.
Don't worry about me. Go right ahead, Mac.
Xavier Woods.
Yes, okay. Now, Teddy, you get the last one here, okay? This is my favorite one.
Is that Naya?
No.
I can't see that.
It's the princess, it looks like.
I don't know who that is.
Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stephanie McMahon, yeah, and you say you paid how much for those figures there, Bill?
$3 at 2nd Avenue Thrift in Willow
That's
Grove.
actually a deal at $3. I've seen those things go for more than that.
It was in a bag.
That's the first action figure I've seen of Stephanie. I didn't even know she had. Yeah, that's the first time
I didn't either. It's really good too.
Yeah.
I call her Stephanie McWoman. Not McMahon.
Let me ask you something, Teddy. You kind of made me think of something that took place recently. We were at a show and we went by a booth, and that booth was selling these wood carve out kind of things, and they featured you, the APA, and some other guys. Does that happen quite a bit where they can use your likeness on stuff they can sell at booths? How often does that happen to you?
No, they didn't feature me. That's why I got on them.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And so I asked them, I said, can you legally do that? I said, does Ron and John know that you got that stuff out here? Okay, so then that's when Ron came the next day, and I took Ron over there and I showed Ron, I said, look what these guys are doing, and you're not getting a dime off of it. So I think Ron got his information and stuff, so I think now they'll start doing the right thing.
I got one thing to say about that. Damn.
Damn. Teddy, can you do a good damn like him?
No, I'm moving on. Will you please?
You're no fun.
Check out BrainBuster, the daily quiz that tests your WWE knowledge with winning streaks, stats, and more. It's time to see if you're up for the challenge.
All right, one more thing before we go. Sting appears to be teasing a return. AEW has announced All In Texas in July of next year, to which Sting tweeted, quote, just down the road. I'll be watching from somewhere, end quote. Bill, do you think we're going to see Sting make an appearance back in AEW?
He lives in Texas. It's just down the road from him. Perhaps with the crow makeup sitting in the rafters, but I think that'll be it.
Teddy, do you think he should come back or just stay away?
What a question.
Yeah, man, I don't know. You know, I think it's probably just a little tease. Maybe he's just going to come down just to watch the show.
Yeah, or he'll come down from the rafters maybe and just make a holy SH moment.
Well, you got Darby Allin, who will probably be there, and if that's the case, he'll probably pop in somewhere in Darby's match somehow. But I wouldn't have a problem really to see Sting come back. I still say that AEW could use a commissioner or a GM type to run the show. And seeing Sting in that kind of position may be interesting, actually.
I agree. I don't want to see him in action again because
no.
My last few memories of him are still intact. It always reminds me of when people go too long in their careers. I always think about Muhammad Ali against Larry Holmes, and Ali never should have done that. I wanted to remember the Ali that was, stick and move. Sting in his final match, even though it was a tag team match, he still looked like he still had it. I don't want to see him not have it.
We were just talking about Bret Hart recently.
Yeah.
And he has been on a podcast. It's called the Attitude Era Podcast. And he was asked if he relished punching Vince McMahon after the screw job at Survivor Series 97. Now, give me a minute because this is kind of lengthy, but I'm going to read this to you. He says, if you were in my shoes after everything I did for them to do what they did to me, and I have always heard this crap, like I think The Undertaker said it a few days ago, that they had to do what they were going to do because there were no other options. Bullshit. I had another 6 weeks left on my contract. There was a million things that could have been done. It was a case of liars and cheaters, backstabbers, and guys that made that moment happen. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Vince McMahon, and I wish I'd knocked them all out. I have no regrets. It was the single greatest thing I ever did, end quote. To which Jimmy Snuka agreed. He says, according to Bret, now again, Jimmy Snuka came up to me about 3 years after the Montreal Screwjob, and he shook my hand and said, I want to shake the hand of the man that knocked out Vince McMahon. Everybody talked about doing it. He lied. He screwed over so many guys. The only guy that ever did it was you, end quote. So now we got Bret out there again. He seems like he's cranky again. I still say there's got to come a point where Bret just needs to relax a little bit, enjoy the time that he had there, and quit bitching about every single thing when he gets an opportunity. Bill, your thoughts?
Well, I think that it's, he forgave Shawn Michaels. He made amends with him. To hear him now spit up Shawn's name again in that thing that you were just reading is surprising to me. But it's a huge piece of history, that Montreal Screwjob. It tuned everybody watching for years afterwards to find out what really happened there. And I'm going to say something that's going to get a lot of people ticked off. I think they all knew what was going to happen at that time. And I think Vince let Bret punch him in the face to make that whole thing just, they needed to get rid of him because he was making the money. They couldn't pay him anymore. So
now are you actually saying that you think that was a work?
I think
the entire thing?
Yeah, I've said that on shows before. Now, if Bret's watching this or hearing this, he's going to disagree with me. But I said many times I thought the whole thing was a work because that was the best way to get out of doing this.
Well, if it was a work, then why would he be so pissed off?
It's still a work. You work.
What's the advantage of making that work happen anymore? Teddy, what do you think?
Well, my thing is this: if it was a work and Bret exposed it to being a work, then it wouldn't be as popular as it is. You wouldn't be able to really talk about it.
Okay.
So my thing is this: I love Bret to death. I always, whenever I'm on a signing and I know he's there, I always make sure I go by and speak to him. And he's just, me and him have always been good friends. So I don't know what to say about this. I'm just gonna stay out of it because I wasn't even working there at the time all this went down. So I really don't know. So when you don't know something, I think it's best to just leave it alone. And that's what I'm going to do.
I'm going to tell you something.
Sure.
There was one part of that, if it wasn't a work, and again, I tell you, you're right. I shouldn't really, I wasn't there. I covered it from pay-per-view, etc. It looked like it was not a work with the spitting and everything, but that moment and that night brought one of the greatest heels in history to life when Bret spit at Vince McMahon and Vince McMahon turned to Mr. McMahon. That was the greatest bad guy in history.
I agree. One of the most pivotal moments in WWE history for sure, because it's when, we have Vince McMahon, as you say, become the major heel and probably the biggest heel of my lifetime in professional wrestling.
Yeah. Well, he was a heel in real life. So it was easy.
just ask Rhonda. Just ask Rhonda or Bret. Let's see. Charlotte.
My daddy was not. Anyway.